Did you know, not only do I offer readings and consultations, I also have a team. Let's get into it because there have been some exciting updates. If you don't already know me, hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm a spiritual practitioner, energy worker, and medium. I specialize in talking to ghosts, spirit guides, and otherworldly creatures, and I also help other people grow their psychic abilities. I'm now offering past life readings with you and another if you like, so long as we have their consent. As of right now, quick chats have the soonest availability, followed by stone dowsing. Next up, Catherine, who is a regular on my page. She's a professional paranormal investigator and she's a medium. If you have any questions on paranormal investigation, the ethics behind it, or even evidence review, she offers that. On the mediumship side of things, she can connect to ghosts, past loved ones, and spirit guides. She can also help you unblock psychic abilities. Sorsha is an anthropologist, she's a psychopomp, and she's our deity reader. She's not super active on social media, though she is a wonderful reader and she's actually one of my mentors. She works with people who are looking to reach out to deities, or there may be a deity in your vicinity who's trying to reach out to you. She can connect to them and connect you to and figure out how you can work with them respectfully. Krista is a certified emotion coder. She helps you to release emotions that are no longer serving you and maybe holding you down. And that could mean holding you down from living life to the fullest, fears, or your own psychic abilities or connection to self. She's doing true healing work. And new on the team, this is Patty. She is our Akashic Records reader. If you haven't heard of this before, Akashic Record readings, it's basically records that are all about you that your soul family has access to. She connects to them and can give you answers. So if you feel drawn to something in particular, or you're having trouble answering particular questions for yourself on why you feel a particular way, that's what the records have answers to. And Patty can help you get those answers. To find out more, go over here, click the thing, get curious. We cannot wait to meet with you. Questions you may have had about my services. Why do I call them consultations? What do I offer? What are my clair abilities? How do I read? My specialities. How it works from afar. Why the wait? Not only do I offer readings, I work with people on an individual basis on ways that they can grow their own abilities and trust in themselves. And then we can actually meet up at a later date that's already covered in the consultation fee, and we can talk about how that's going. Ta-da! Pause to read. I am primarily a clairsentient, claircognizant, and inner eye clairvoyant reader. So that means I may physically feel things, I may emotionally feel things like picking up on personality. I also might know things that just kind of get dropped in my head all of a sudden. And being an inner eye clairvoyant reader, sometimes I will see imagery in my mind. Ghosts, spirit guides, and otherworldly beings are those who I find that I am able to speak with and understand the easiest. And I also have other readers on my team that focus on other frequencies of spirits, such as past loved ones and deities. It's not necessarily that I cannot connect with past loved ones and deities, it's just I have to kind of go a roundabout way in order to do that. All the same, I definitely highly recommend checking out my readers team to see what their specialities are. Time and space are different when we are talking on spiritual matters. Therefore, I do not have to be in the physical presence of someone in order to work with them and be able to read with them. I have found over time that if I'm not well rested, that I am pretty useless to being able to do this sort of thing. This is a kind of career where you have to have good mental health if you are going to be a good agent to work with anybody else. Therefore, I have to cap my hours each week. I have to have boundaries on what I'm going to talk about outside of those working hours. Since I understand that there is a wait, I have created a lot of resources for people to use and try and do while they're waiting. So that way, when we first start to meet, it's not like trying this for the first time. So I have journals and courses and live Q&As, workshops, all sorts of things on resources that are all over here. And to further this discussion more, I am going live. Check the details below. I hope you can join. And if you can't, remember that recording is going to be up on a place. Here's a question that people don't ask nearly as much as I think they should. What are quick chats? Hey Rebecca, I think you're cool and I want to meet you. Awesome, I'd love to meet you too. Consider booking a quick chat. Can you connect me to my guides and past loved ones? Ooh, I don't do mediumship and quick chats, but I do offer that in consultations, and so do some of the members on my readers team. Can you give me tips on how I can connect with my past loved ones and my guides on my own? Absolutely. I'm terrified. Can you remove it for me? Not in a quick chat, but I do offer that in mediumship-led consultations, and so do members of my readers team. I'm terrified. Can you teach me ways to not be terrified? So long as you understand I'm a spiritual practitioner and I'm not coming from the lens of being a certified mental health professional, yes. Hey Rebecca, I really want to pick your brain via email, DM, or over coffee. Awesome. I'd love to talk to you, and we can do that in live time over a quick chat. Okay, real talk here. I keep a really tight schedule and I have to be really careful about not overworking myself. You can call me a recovering workaholic. Recovering because I do really care about people a lot. Makes me want to do more and more and more. And I realized in recent years that that's not healthy for me if I don't have boundaries on what I should and shouldn't be doing at what times with what people. If I'm not able to give myself breathing time, I'm honestly pretty useless to everyone, especially myself. The way I see it is you're either going to think my time is worth it or you're not. And either way is fine. My issue is when I have all of these resources just out there that are just ready to be plucked and people aren't watching them, or they just expect me to talk to them. To be honest, that just doesn't feel fair. All that to say, that's why I created a service for this. This is a time for you to pick my brain on my experience. I don't know anyone else out there that offers services like this where you can just talk to a psychic medium. So if you're looking to grow your psychic skills and you're looking for somebody to talk to who understands it, that's what this is for. Things I cannot help you with as a spiritual medium. Today is going to be Hard Truth Day. I want to end my fear of death by talking to past loved ones. I don't want to feel guilty, so I want to talk to a past loved one. I want to make sure that they're okay because I'm not okay. I just want to talk to them. I want to know why they did what they did. Why did I give those examples? Because every one of those particular examples can be tied back to one's personal mental health, their worth, their belief in themselves. I may be able to give you all kinds of validation, but what happens immediately after that meeting? You will want more. That's looking outward instead of looking inward. All those examples deserve time to put into mental health counsel to overcome grief and fear. Please know, you can talk to your past loved ones at any time. You do not need a psychic medium to be able to do that. The only difference is you may not be able to perceive their answer, at least not without trust in yourself. And just be prepared, whether you're using a psychic medium or not. Sometimes there is never a good answer to why someone did what they did. Your ability to cope with what has happened to you and how you deal with that is your mental health responsibility. You cannot control what other people do. You can control what you do. Okay, enough of that. To flip the script, what can I and members on my readers team actually help you with? I want to see what my past loved ones are up to. I've been seeing signs and I want to check with another source on if that's them. I think I feel them around me and I want to grow my strengths. I'm looking for ways I can have more trust in myself when I'm talking with spirits. Do you feel the change in energy here? None of those things were based in fear, worry, or grief. This is the best energy to work with for a reading. Grief and pain and worry can really clutter a connection when working with past loved ones. And by the way, it's not just the sitter that may be having those issues. It may also be the past loved one. But once again, all of that goes back to one person's personal mental health, whether that's in a physical suit or out of it. It's always personal. From what I've found, mental health doesn't just end once we get out of this. It's better to treat it now while we have access to immediate help like counselors, therapists, support groups, self-help books. There's so much out there. Just start looking. You are worth it to work on you now, to invest in you now. You are the one that is important now. So invest in you. Into consultations. Like, what are those? What am I doing? I wanted to make a video to just talk about just why I do what I do and that kind of thing. Thank you for the roses. I have a note here to go over what they are specifically. And if you want to watch that shorter video, it is there, but I just thought this would be a good time to just kind of check in. And, I'm also going to do this because there's some of you out there that might be looking to open up your own kinds of services, your own readings and that kind of thing. And I'm for it, this is why I have a readers team. I don't want to sit around and be like, oh, I'm a Rebekah the Ghost Guide. Like, I do this, but like those other people. No, my belief, and maybe this is bad business, but here we go. My belief is I want everybody to have a connection first with themselves and then to be able to share that connection with one another and with spirit, conscious collective, what have you. I think the more people that we have on this plane of existence right now who are grounded in their own self-belief, who are grounded in their own ability to get the answers that they are searching for about life and what have you, the better off we're going to be as a society. So when I do consultations, when I work with other people, it's truly to just make everything as good as it could be. because why not? So yeah, so proud of yourself that you learned how to ground and shield. Very good, Jessica. I love that for you. Like, seriously, that's the whole thing. I don't think we should be entirely dependent on somebody else to do this work for us. And that's one of the things that I teach on this channel. It's one of the things that I teach in consultations for my readers team. They do that as well. We ought to all be self-sustaining, and, you know, we can hold ourselves accountable by going to other readers, psychics, and, of course, going to mental health professionals and going to physical health professionals and, you know, going to all kinds of folks. But, you know, the availability to just simply check in with oneself is going to be the most important. Yes, thank you, Paige. I do not want to gatekeep because, no, like, anybody who knows me personally and my mods, you all know this, like, through the Patreon meetups, you know this. I'm very much like, hey, everybody, think for yourself. Like, I love being able to sit down with people and work with them, but it's always with the intention of them being able to work with themselves and grow themselves. I don't want anybody to be depending on me for answers or, you know, connecting with their loved one or something like that. No, I believe everybody can truly do this. So that's why I put this out there. So, to start out, the first question that I had was, why do I call them consultations? Okay, a lot of other psychic and mediums, they will call them readings, right? Or they might call them cleansings or something of that nature, right? I call them consultations because it's all encompassing. One, sometimes people will book for one thing and then they find that through something else, or they don't have that question anymore, and then they're just like, oh, well, I have something else that I want to work on. Cool. So consultations is like an all-encompassing term. So for me, that could be an energy reading of one's personal form, of the location that they are at. If they're not at that same location, so long as they know where it is and I can work with a guide to read the energy of that location, I can do that. I do past life reads. I do cleansings from afar. I can also work with people to create a cleansing routine for themselves. I work with people on spiritual hygiene. I work with people on being able to actively connect with themselves and spirit after the consultation. Every consultation that I have now has homework associated with it. And it's because people ought to be working on this on their own, right? Even if that's just like homework to assist with the grieving process or something like that, right? So yeah, that's one of the other things that I offer with my consultations. For my mediumship-led consultations, those are an hour long. Those are, what's included with that is a 15-minute follow-up at another date. I don't know any other psychic mediums that do this. Maybe they do, and I think that'd be wonderful. It's just part of the package, and the whole point of it is it's 15 minutes at a later time. People can add on time if they want, but it's another time, roughly 2 months out is typically how they fall, and it's just a talk back session. It's one so that I can be held accountable, because if I'm going to be giving this advice, I want to check myself on it. You know, if I give somebody advice and I'm just like, hey, try this, I want to be sure that it's working for them. So the time that they are taking to check back with me after having tried stuff is just for that. So I'm really excited that I offered that, because I don't know, the idea just came to me one day, and I hope that other people in this profession would consider doing that, because not only does it help you, you know, when you have questions after you tried something on your own, it also helps the reader. We need to be held accountable too. So that's that. Yeah, other things that I do in consultations, mediumship. Let's talk about that for a moment. Mediumship means a variety of things. Okay. So a lot of people associate mediumship specifically with talking with past loved ones. Okay. That is part of mediumship. Other parts of mediumship are at the core. That means talking to spirits. Okay. So not on this plane, talking to spirits. So that could be ghosts, past loved ones, combination of thereof. That could be otherworldly creatures. That could be spirit guides. That could be higher beings. That could be deities. That could be nature spirits. That could be elementals. things that are in spirit. So one of the things I found, like when people book with me, sometimes they'll just be like, oh, I want mediumship. And I have to explain to them, like, hey, there's a variety of mediumship here. And I explain to them what they can look into with me, specifically because, I mean, they're there. I do recommend, if you are looking to book with me, to think about what you want to talk about before we actually meet. I have found that readings where people are just like, I don't know, just read it. Know what you want. Know what you want. Because sometimes when it's like that broad of an understanding, the thing that you're looking for doesn't always come through. And that's how energy works. That's also how guides work. Sometimes guides will straight up be like, oh, you don't know what you want? I'll tell you about dinner tomorrow. And it's just like, is that helpful? And they're just like, you said it was, reader's pick. So I told them this. So know what you want. That's going to be important. Oh, hello, cousin. Possum of poopability. I've been looking at your channel, dude. That's awesome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the live. If you want to follow my cousin's channel, I don't think it has anything to do with ghosts, except for I think you did review some haunted bathrooms before. So yes, at some point I would love to go to haunted bathrooms with you, because you can make content, I can make content, we can go live and it'll be ridiculous and it'll make our moms happy. So cool. Yeah, so I'll just skip on to specialities as far as like mediumship and specificity, since I just kind of was on that for a little bit. I used to think that if I didn't specialize in everything, that I was a failure. I don't think that anymore, I have learned. So I used to think that I had to offer a lot of things that I was okay at. I wasn't bad. Though there were just things that I still have to actively work on to get the best connection. So, for example, ghosts, I've always been able to easily conversate with ghosts, even if it was in my mind's eye or my claircognizance or my ears, and I'll go over what all that stuff means in a little bit. But yeah, ghosts. If you got a ghost in your house, cool. Would love to talk to them. If you have a story that you want to go over, or an experience or something like that, you don't always necessarily need mediumship for that, so I offer quick chats for that. But yeah, ghosts, always been able to connect with them. Same thing with spirit guides. Once I realized what those were, I was like, oh, I've been talking to one for like all my life. By the way, it's not turn up for the most part. She's new in my sphere of who I work with, but I had various guides growing up. So spirit guides, they're their own kind of vibration. Ghosts are their own sort of vibration. I say vibration rather than like level, because it's not like one is good and one is bad. It's just, yeah. While we're on the subject, I'll kind of go around that and then come back. When we're talking about planes of existence, my theory, and this is also backed up by some theories in physics, is that it's not just us and then up and then down. There's some people on here that are saying that as if those were the only ones. There is up, but up doesn't mean good, and there is down, and down doesn't mean bad. It just means down and up, okay? There's also like diagonal and going the other way, and sideways, and then like going across this way. It's like a whole three-dimensional, it's multi-dimensional sorts of things on where everybody is. And it's not a matter of like who is good and bad. It's truly just a matter of where they're from and what their morality is. Not everything adheres to human morality, and it's just a reality of kind of like knowing that. I went live with Emily, who's Liker of Words. That recording is on the tube of Youb. And we talk about that. It's just different understandings. So that's that. It's not always like them trying to put their understandings into a human context. It's just they it's kind of like when you talk to somebody who's from an entirely different culture, background, location from you, they have a perspective that you may not have. And so they share that perspective, and then you get to use it as you like. So that's how I look at beings all over the place and like where they're from. But anyway, we're wherever we are in the universe. So yeah, with frequencies. So I talked about ghost frequencies and spirit guide frequencies. I found otherworldly creatures. Not bad at talking to them either. That's where all the, things that I talked about just were from, Past loved ones. Yes, I can connect with them. However, I have found that in some cases, my mediumship style is not always what people are looking for. People will sometimes see the traditional understanding that is based primarily in physical eye clairvoyance and physical ear clairaudience. And that's why with mediumship with past loved ones, sometimes people will come and they're like, oh, I just want to hear that phrase. I have inner ear clairaudience that is primarily fueled by my claircognizance. If I get that phrase, cool. I don't always get the phrase word for word, which is why I have, once again, a reader's team. And I'm just going to give a shout out to Catherine out there. She does past loved one readings. And by the way, her availability is much sooner than mine. And she also has a similar reading style to me where it is a consultation. It's not just connecting with the past loved one. It's also helping you connect with them in your own way, understanding how that works for the future, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll also say deities. Yes, I can connect with deities. I am learning to do that better. However, I found I can work with people to connect with deities that I've already worked with, but when it comes to connecting with deities I don't know as well, I'm learning, I'm growing, but I don't sell that as a service. Why? Because I'm learning and growing in that. That's why I have a readers team. And I'm going to plug Sorsha on this one. She's our go-to deity reader. So yeah, that once again, I'm not the end all be all when it comes to mediumship and readings, which is why I, put it out there to grow this readers team. And I'm so fortunate to have those of you who are on the readers team. And of course, it's on my website if you want to check that out. So yeah, that's who I can connect with. I'll go back to those clair abilities that I mentioned before, as far as like how I read. Claircognizance, always been the strongest. Claircognizance is the ability to just know things. Here's the thing. I've gotten much better at being able to pull things energetically to know them, though understand consent is a thing. So if I'm talking with a spirit guide and they don't want me to know, it's not like I'm just going to be able to pull that from them. I work with consent. So I will work with you to know what they want you to know. That is important. It's the same thing with any other spirit. I work consensually. If they don't want to work with me, cool. We will get around that. We will see who else we can work with. So that's that. Let's see. So the claircognizance, then I have inner eye clairvoyance. So I see a lot of mental imagery. I have found, I think it's called, I'm farsighted with my inner eye clairvoyance, which is kind of funny to think about. Like sometimes I'll see something with my mind's eye and it's like really fuzzy and I have to like kind of work the view of my eye. It's like sometimes I have to zoom out and zoom in and that kind of thing. So that's what I found. I am reawakening my physical eye clairvoyance. It is coming along. I closed that up as a kid because it was very scary to me. And I'm always honest with my process on like where I am and that I am actively working on things because I don't want anybody to think that I'm perfect. My goodness. No. So I just figure too, if you're looking to work with somebody who understands what it's like to reopen these things, hi, that's what I do. But yeah, I've picked up on auras a lot clearer more recently. I see shadows with my physical eyes, though it is like kind of turning on sort of process. Clairaudience, I am inner ear clairaudience. As I mentioned before, it's primarily fueled by my claircognizance kind of giving me words. I have found that if I get words in another language, I might get like consonants or like random vowels. If I get words that I don't understand, like in English, or like a name that I don't understand, I sound it out to the best of my ability. I'm always honest with clients when I'm like, hey, there's a T in there. Or it's like, I think it's 3 syllables and there's a K. It's like a K, and then there's like an So that's when I give the clients homework too, to be like, all right, intuition, let's go. Like, see where you get. Other things, I'm very clairsentient. So that is the ability to psychically feel. There are branches of that. There is clairsentience that is emotion based. There's clairsentience that is physical, like touch based, where you can like get a memory from something or a feeling from something. So with that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. They're good comments and I want to get to them, and I will. So yeah, with clairsentience, I get a lot of feelings. So oftentimes when I'm describing a spiritual connection that I'm getting, I will describe the personality first. What's cool about that is it's more telltale to me, especially like if working with past loved ones, because who makes up the personality, you know, like, you know your people, but that also means you have to have trust in yourself to know your people. And that's what's most important. That is the connection in itself. You trusting yourself to know your people, even if it's like spirit guides and you're not sure who they are, just trusting yourself to be like, I know that they're there. Bam. It all comes back to you. We are as magical as we allow ourselves to be. So when you're going to any kind of reader, if you go to them entirely closed off and you're not trusting the process or anything like that, readings are a two-way street. So you're gonna get what you're gonna get. Anywho, other things. Yeah, I feel a lot of emotions. It's also called being an empath. I am growing my clairgustance, so it's being able to psychically taste and scent taste. My clairsalience, which is psychically smelling, it's entirely fueled by my claircognizance. It's like my brain tells me, this would smell like this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So anywho, if you want to learn more about the psychic skill sets, how you can grow them yourself, I have courses on Patreon covering all of that. Do check them out. They're beefy, like they're a full hour long. They are not on YouTube anywhere. It's just on my Patreon. That tier starts at $10 a month. And right now there are 6 courses up. So yeah, do consider checking that out. As I said, this is for you to grow, you know? Let's see. I mentioned that, how I read. Yeah. Okay. How this works from afar. Cool. So, if some of you are like, wait, I don't live near you, that's cool because I do all my readings from a tent over there. Spirit is not bound by space or time. Therefore, you can be where you are and I can be where I am, and we kind of link connection through, it's kind of like, what was that thing? It was about galaxies. But they did the thing where they folded a piece of paper and they stuck a pencil through it and they're like, bam. If anybody knows what that is, please comment it. It was on a movie that was Interstellar. Okay, so we do this Interstellar style. And it is the coolest thing when I'm learning more about like physics and science and that kind of thing. And I'm like, wait, we do that in a psychic thing. That's cool. So yeah. Another thing too, some mediums will actively invite folks to them when they're doing readings. That might be past loved ones or spirit guides, sometimes deities. I do not do that. Now, deities are going to do what they want, and sometimes they do show up, and I'm like, okay, I do not allow other spirits in my space. I can do these readings from afar. Sometimes people will be with you. Sometimes they will be in spirit space. So long as they're open to be found, we can find them. And I say we because, once again, you're the connection to your people. I am a third way call. I don't like, the reason why I don't have spirits come over anymore is because some of them didn't want to leave. Rude, right? right. Some of them were like bugging me, and I was like, your consultation with your person was like a day ago. Why are you still here? Leave. Some mediums will talk about so-and-so showing up before their session. Hey, so long as you feel safe doing that, no problem with it. I like my house to be quiet. So I don't invite anybody here. I go to them in spirit, kind of like an astral space sort of thing, but I'm also still there on the consult call. Yeah, I guess that kind of explains that. But I've seen some pretty cool things over the years in spirit space, what people create for themselves after they pass. Somebody asked, can deities be spirit guides? Yes, they can. It's, I would say, uncommon, but not impossible, because I have run into that before. So that is cool. So yeah. Hi, Wilmington. Hello, townspeople. Yeah, so as far as like things that I offer, if you want to check them out, I offer my Mediumship-Led consultations, and I've got a readers team that focuses on different things. And let's see, I've got quick chats. If you're not looking to do the psychic stuff and you're just like, hey, I would like advice based on experience of mine, of who I talk to, of what I read, cool, that's what a quick chat is for. I don't know many other psychic mediums that do that either, where they just offer you get to talk to me, ask me questions. Once again, not on a mediumship level, but just the sort of like, hey, I had this happen, 10 years ago. What do you think that was? Now, if it's a mediumship-led, I can look into it, ask your guides, and get a better understanding. However, if it's a quick chat, we just get to kind of shoot ideas out there and be like, well, what did it feel like? If you're growing your abilities and you just want to be like, hey, I tried this, do you have tips? Boom, that's what a quick chat is for. Stone dowsing is available a bit sooner, and the quick chats are available sooner. Stone dowsing is, I can look into past lives with that. I can look into, if you're asking yourself questions, if you're trying to compare and contrast things that you're looking to do in your future, that's what that is for. It's a super cool kind of method that I made up. Well, I thought I made up. I channeled it, and then I found out that it actually existed like 3,000 years ago. Wow. Some people really connect with tarot cards. I connect with random things that I've collected over time. Some of them are stones, some of them are bottles of water, some of them are nails and pieces of glass and coins, and yeah, they just kind of make it to my set and I use them for reading. So yeah, that is stone dowsing. And then I also just started, what do I call them? I don't even remember what I called them. Basically, it's not a live chat with me. It's just a chance you get to ask a question and I type up a girthy email and send it to you with the answer. That allows me to do it at different times and be able to add that on my schedule. I only have like 2 a week for that one right now because I'm just kind of testing the waters on how it works. So if you're interested in that, that's available pretty soon. Just saying, if you saw it on here first. But that's on my services page. Of course, everything is on my website. If you are on my services page and you're like, whoa, I thought she offered this, and then I don't for whatever reason, whatever you're thinking, go to my readers team, see what they offer. We've got a large collection of, just things that people are offering. Thank you for the rose. So do check them out. And you know what? If you look at my whole readers team and you're like, ooh, I don't know, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Or maybe you look at all of us and you're like, there's something about all of them I'm just not feeling right now. Okay, I've got a vetted practitioners page where they're not affiliated specifically with my brand or with my website. However, I believe in what they're doing and I want people to be connected with who they feel they ought to be connected with, even if that means that I don't make any kind of income off of that. Once again, we are all unique people. There's not going to be one person that's going to be the end all, be all for everybody. So when you're looking at a reader, ask yourself, be like, is this the person I need to meet with? Is this what I need to do right now? Trust yourself. It all starts with your trust of yourself. I cannot iterate that enough. Okay. So yeah. I think I covered everything. And I'm going to open it back up to questions. Once again, mods, thanks for running the show. I see a bunch of y'all on there and I just super appreciate you. So any questions on consults, spirit stuff, whatever, I am open to it. Ooh, where would you say has the most activity in Wilmington? There are a lot of places. The battleship is active, and they do seem to know how to make electronics work. One of my favorites is always going to be the Wilmington Railroad Museum, but they're not always active in the daytime because they like know when hours are, and they're like, they roam around at night because they're just like, there are not people in the way. If you want to get like into gross inhuman stuff, you could go to Gallows Hill, but that is private property now. It's the Price home at 5th and Market. Yes, I said Gallows Hill because it was a hill, or it still is a hill, and they were gallows there in the 17 and 1800s. So yeah. Cool. Thank you again, mods. Thank you again, mods. Super appreciate it. Thank you, Ivy, for answering questions about my consultation. Yeah, everything is on video call. I use Google Hangouts. For confirmation emails, be sure that you get one after you sign up. If you do not get one, we may not have a correct email for you. So always follow up with that. You will get a Google Hangout specific code, like through a Google Calendar event. It'll either be like 2 days before or like roughly a week before. It's going to be within a week before your session. And yeah, that's how we do things. The only exception to that is that new service that I offered where I send emails. So we're going to see how that goes. I don't know how that's going to go. So, but I'm excited for it because I was like, I want to be able to, add something. And so I added what I could, and that is what I can do. And if I can add more in the future, I absolutely will. Though I remember a time where I added way too much of myself all at once. And I have learned from that experience to not do that again. I've said this before. This is a job where you actually need to be well rested. You need good mental health. There's a matter of focus that happens. Thank you for the rose, Krista. Krista's on my readers team, a motion coder and a body coder. And if you saw the YouTube video last week, it was on emotion coding. And I got to get deep with some of my problems. That mattered to me to put that on YouTube, just because, once again, I want people to know that I'm doing the mental health work. And one of the cool things with Krista is like, it's like combo of mental health work and spiritual health work. If anything, it pairs very well with like therapy with a mental health professional, because in releasing the emotive side of something that was not a great time for you, it allows you to speak more clearly about it and have a clear head on what's going on. So Krista, out there doing good work. Let's see. Oh, cool. I just saw Blizzard Pearl. Appointment is next Thursday. I look forward to meeting you. Ooh, great question. When you pass, and this is from Jolie, Jolie? Yes. When you pass, can you choose to be a spirit? So most of the time, yes. I know with past loved ones, it typically is a choice on them staying behind or choosing to reincarnate or choosing to do more life review stuff. Really, what I have found, whether it is a ghost or a past loved one, it all has to do with their mental health. All has to do with their mental health. Thank you, ma'am. Good to see you. Yeah, so the more you do now to check yourself, to make peace with your reality, to find balance, whatever you can do, that helps you after. Because the more mental health stuff you have to get through on the other side, the more time that's going to take for you to focus on. So that's not a bad thing. It's just more like if you want to hang around and be super engaged with your loved ones who are still here in the physical, you can do that. Though I would not suggest skipping life review stuff. Like, you finally get the time to review things, so do it. That is probably the healthiest way to go about these things. Once again, focus on your mental health now, so that once you pass on, it's not like you feel held back by something. It's more like you get to be like, oh, cool, that happened. Cool, I want to go hang out with my so-and-so. Spirits have stuff to do too. And I think it's important to note. I don't know any spirit who is around 24/7. And that would also not be great. I would not like that. I would very much be like, please go somewhere. Even spirit guides. It's what I was talking to Emily the other day. I described it like a baby monitor, where it's like if something goes wrong, they can like show up, right? But like they observe the situation, though. Are they around 24/7? Not my experience. Sorry, that was really weird. I think somebody just flushed a toilet or something, but I also had like a woo, and then I was just like, it started like clapping for some reason. I was just like, why are we clapping? What are we doing? So that was a good question. Baby monitor is such a good way to explain it. Thank you, Spooky Kid. By the way, Spooky Kid and I at the Railroad Museum was released today, at least part 1 on YouTube, if you were not here earlier to hear that, and the full version is now up on Patreon. So, yep. I love all this conversation. Oh my goodness, fantastic. I don't know what the conversation was about, but Marie just said theory, less people can catch them getting into shenanigans. I'm just going to agree with what you said. I don't know what the context is, but I'm just going to go with it. Whatever it was, it just resonates. So, Krista, check yourself before you wreck after your afterlife. Very good. I love this. Yeah, okay. So, cool. Oh, someone asked what I meant by life review. Yeah, okay. The concept is, when you get over there, you have folks there to be like, hi, and it's your chance to kind of look at what happened in your life. The purpose of it is for you to learn from what happened. I don't think it's meant to cause great shame, unless you didn't feel shame and you should have. And understand that that's not a specific morality, sort of like, this religion says you feel shame, so you should. No, it's you connecting with yourself, connecting with your guides, connecting with others in spirit who mean you well, to decide for yourself, what are you keeping? What are you being like, woo, I'm gonna leave that in that life, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just kind of, I've seen it before where, let's see, with past loved ones that I've connected with, once I saw a person and they were at a desk at what looked like a school. And even though they were not of school age, it just sort of made sense to them to be in an academic kind of environment. And the way that they did their life review was sitting with the book and reading things and just kind of absorbing the information. Some people I've seen, they have like a TV that they watch and they get information on that. We justify seeing that kind of stuff as we can. Some people may just take it all claircognizantly and all of a sudden they know. People will do what they need to do in order to be able to review things as comfortably and in a more balanced atmosphere as they can. It is a choice. It's not like shoved on anybody. I have seen people who are not wanting to work on their life review, and they do tend to have a more like stuck feeling. That's not hell, by the way. some people, they're like, they go to the bad place, they go to hell. And I'm just like, no, not in my experience. The concept of being trapped in hell is, from what I've seen in my experience, a concept that comes from here. It's the concept of not being able to leave, not feeling worthy, feeling like one doesn't deserve to see people that they love. So I've seen people before where they have rooms that they've created for themselves, and they sit in their rooms, and it's like the TV is there, but it's not on, for their life review. Or there are past loved ones just right outside the door, and they're just like, yeah, we're just waiting until so-and-so wants to talk. So yeah, that's why I say mental health stuff now, live in the now. I never want to create this idea of, oh, when we get into spirit, we can have fun. Like, we can have fun now. We can be here right now. So let's be here right now. Let's invest in ourselves right now on what we're doing here in the now, for ourselves, for each other, all the good stuff. Yep. So going back. Thanks for the agreement. Yeah. You know what? Hi, Tina. I just saw that. Tina, hello. Loving the fit. Thank you. Yeah, I feel it would be good to go into a little bit on shred theory, because I posted a video about that today. This is one of those things, like, I'm not going to claim the theory is mine just because I channeled it and it resonated. Somebody else has probably come up with this before. I don't know who they are, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, I am the first one to discover this. I don't know that. The concept of shred theory is, and I'm sure it's called something else somewhere else, it's this idea or this concept where we can shed pieces of ourselves that are no longer useful to us in order to move on. And I mean that in the physical too. I've also done readings for people where they remove a part of themselves because they just can't deal with it at the time. Sometimes it's great sadness. Sometimes it's dreams and ambitions. It's not common. Understand that. It's a rarity when that comes up, when I'm like looking at somebody's sphere and I'm like, why are your dreams and ambitions in a whole other ball over there? Or why are your fears still following you, but they're not a part of you, but they're like next to you? What is that about? That's how that can manifest for us in the physical. Once again, I wouldn't worry about that too much, but I have seen it before, so I'll say it. Then spirits can do that too. So some mediums will tell you that when you get to the other side, there are no problems anymore and everything is perfect. I think that narrative is dangerous because some people think that's the only way out, if you know what I mean. Once again, mental health here now. Now, does that mean that those mediums are invalid in who they're talking to? No. I personally believe that they're channeling a higher self, which the higher self has access to all of that information. So that's like the greater self, the one that knows all of you and perhaps parallel lives that you may have and all that stuff. So they can still be doing that. The way that I channel is I channel what's closest to the person. So the string that is closest to them. So that means where, like, how their past loved one is like sharing space with them on this plane of existence, if they're choosing to share space with them on this plane of existence. That's where you still get humanity and human experience involved in that. You still get personality, you still get biases. Basically, you still get the person that you knew instead of some high-minded person. Both are valid, but with me on my channel, I'm going to be talking about how they are both valid but different. And that's why I always regularly talk about reader bias and mattering and that sort of thing. So the reason why I say that, ghosts. are all ghosts 100% who they were when they were alive? Sometimes. Sometimes the ghost is something that a person wanted to leave behind rather than take with them into the next, whatever that means. That's why you have a lot of really tragic ghost stories, because the tragedy stays behind. Sometimes that is a sentient spirit. Sometimes it is more of a residual spirit where it's like on the year of somebody's unalive, situation, something happens. I used to think that residual spirits you couldn't communicate with them. Like you could pick them up on devices sometimes, but otherwise just nope. Well, that was until really Rupert. Rupert would have been considered residual for a long time because a lot of his sentience had just kind of left over time. It had joined up with the part of him that moved on, his higher self, if you will. And then when I kind of entered the mix, because we were meant to meet in this life, I rolled in there and he started gaining his sentience back because I kept standing on him. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I kept standing on him. And he didn't like that. And then he was like, why is she always standing on me all the time? And that's actually what brought his sentience back. But then he was like, what is it about her? And me just like totally in the dark being like, I think ghosts are here at the Bergwood Wright House, So anyway, I hope that makes sense. As far as how we can have threads of ourselves in different places. I've even heard of hauntings where the person is like still alive. And it's like a piece of them that is back at a house or something like that. So once again, these theories are to add validation to a lot of different kind of readers out there, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, my way is the best way. My way is the only way. That's weird. I don't know everything. So hi everybody who's saying hi, hello, Sugar the Rottweiler, love that. But yeah, I think somebody I saw earlier, do our loved ones come to greet us when we pass? So long as they can. If they're still doing life review stuff, if it's not that heavy, yes, they can come to get you. If it is very heavy, they might be there, just still handling their own stuff. Once again, we gotta put ourselves first in this. I know I was raised in a religion where I was like, I should be last, and woo, did that ruin my mental health. So yeah, but in my experience, more oftentimes than not, like I give you the understanding of what could happen out there, but it's not to scare you. It's so that you can look at your own lives and be like, what do I want afterwards? Okay, well, how do I get there? It's mental health. It's all goes back to mental health and knowing yourself and knowing what you want and that sort of thing. But yeah, typically when I talk to people who have seen what it looks like on the other side, they talk about seeing folks like as soon as they get up. Sometimes they blink and they're like on the other side of the room and they're just like, how did I get here? All of my family is sad, because I passed. And they oftentimes are sad too, because I've seen they mourn with us. But all the same, their sadness is different because it's the understanding, it's the comprehension that communication is going to be different. And that's sad. That's something to be sad about. I mourn people who pass. I've been very open and honest about my dog, who was my best friend, and now she's an extension of my guide team at this point, but I still miss her. The communication is still different. I can psychically feel, but it's not the same as doing this. So yeah. But yeah, sometimes people are greeted by their spirit guides when they get to the other side. Sometimes they have to be caught. When people don't realize that they've passed, sometimes they just like get up and they just keep doing what they were doing. I actually talked to a guy the other day who he didn't know that he had passed after it happened. Like he figured it out because the family came to do stuff at the house, but he conked out on the floor essentially, and he blinked and he got up and his wife from the other side was trying to call out to him, and she had been trying to call out to him for a little while. He had gotten really good about ignoring her, and yeah, he was just like, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. And he was so used to being in that mindset. It wasn't like being a ghost where you like, you know, go through stuff. He just, in his mind, went straight into spirit space and made himself a sandwich until he figured out that he had passed. So all of that to say, your awareness of what happens to you after you pass is, I would say, it does come back to your awareness of yourself right now. So take that as you will. Guardian, spirit, or angel, yeah, push you back into your body. Yeah, that's a thing. I've talked to people who have had experiences where they like wake up and then like on the other side and whoever's nearby is just like, nope. It's like, go back in there. So yeah, that is the thing. I was just, my dog came to get my mom a few days before she passed. The first grandkid. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I am me, you are you. Perfect name. Yeah. So cool. Well, I've been on here about an hour. I believe it is time for me to pumpkin. And yeah, I just want to give another thank you to everybody who was on here to watch and for asking these great questions. And this will be up on Tube of Yube. The recording of it anyway will be up a little bit later. And once again, any services you want to check out, all on my website or my Patreon. Patreons, you fund me being able to do this. I've said this many times before. Thank you for doing that. It allows me to give back. So thank you for doing that. Thank you, mods. And yeah, remember, I will never be up in your DMs ever, being like, readings. Nope. That's not me. Block and report. Just keep on block and reporting those. I have done the same. So anywho, thank you so much for wanting to listen to all of this today. I really appreciate it, all of you. And I've said this before, consultations started because people asked. People believed in me and they asked. And I am so humbled by that. And even when I was having trouble believing in myself, when I was first starting this up, so many of you believed in me, and now I want to give back. And that's why I have a readers team, and that's why I have so many options on Patreon for courses, and I keep posting these videos. So I hope wherever you are doing what you can for yourself. You're giving yourself love, a hug, all that stuff, giving yourself grace, because it is still Mercury retrograde. But anywho, thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again.